On this week's edition of In Focus. Thanks so much for joining us. This week we're getting reaction to Vice President Harris's decision on a running mate. She joined Governor Tim Walz this week on a tour of battleground states with less than 3 months now until the presidential election and just over a week until the Democratic convention. Maddie Biertemple has more from our Washington bureau.
Vice President Kamala Harris is celebrating her pick for Vice President, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz.
Because he's the kind of person who makes people feel like they belong and then inspires them to dream big. And that's the kind of vice president he will be.
Harris and Walz held their first rally together in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania to kick off their week-long tour of battleground states.
Over those next 91 days and every day in the White House, I'll have Vice President Harris's back.
A source familiar with Harris's decision says Walz appealed to her as an effective messenger who can help win Midwestern states, the same states that Republican VP pick Ohio Senator J.D. Vance is vying to win.
We're white guys from the Midwest. I guess there are similarities there. But what's different is the actual ideas about how best to serve people.
Vance said he called Walz to congratulate him, but left a voicemail. He then went after Walz at a Philadelphia rally, calling him too extreme.
Tim Walz's record is a joke. He's been one of the most far-left radicals in the entire United States government.
A debate between Vance and Walz is not yet scheduled, but Vance says he's in after Democrats make the ticket official at their convention.
I can't wait to debate the guy.
The pick comes after the DNC officially voted to nominate Harris. 99% of pledged delegates voted for her. In Washington, I'm Maddie Biertemple.
All right, Maddie, thanks. Also this week, former President Trump held a press conference announcing that he's agreed to debate Vice President Harris in September. He also shared his thoughts on, among other things, his opponent's new running mate.
He is the most liberal. Look, between her and him, there's never been anything like this. There's never been a combination. So I'll use the word progressive. You know, they want to go progressive. They don't like the word liberal. I like liberal better. I think it's more appropriate.
Now, we're also getting reaction to the vice president's pick from elected officials on both sides of the aisle here in Indiana. State House reporter Hannah Adamson spoke with Senator Todd Young and Congressman Andre Carson this week.
I love him. Great pick. Excellent pick.
Indiana Representative Andre Carson says Tim Walz previously served with him on the House Transportation Committee. He says Walz's Midwestern sensibility will create what he calls a formidable ticket.
I think it represents the best that our country has to offer. The Midwest is represented. We often get overlooked, so it's showtime.
Former Indiana Senator Joe Donnelly served with Walz on the House Committee on Veterans Affairs.
What I think he brings is Hoosier common sense, Midwest common sense. The district he always represented was very much like our state. He gets Indiana. He gets our people. He gets the people of the United States.
There is tremendous enthusiasm about the quality of this selection.
Indiana Democratic Party Chair Mike Schmuhl says he believes Walz's working class background will appeal to voters in blue wall states, such as Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, states he calls essential to victory.
Tim Walz isn't from one of those states, but he's from a neighboring state, and a state that's a little more middle of the road than people might realize.
But many Indiana Republicans dismissed the notion Walz is a middle-of-the-road candidate. In a statement, Indiana Representative Jim Banks called Walz a disaster for Minnesota, while Indiana Senator and Republican gubernatorial candidate Mike Braun called Walz, quote, wrong for our country. Indiana Senator Todd Young says he believes Walz will have a challenging time defending some of Kamala Harris's more liberal policies.
I also think that he's going to have a tough time defending on many fronts the Biden-Harris record, from inflation to the botched withdrawal from Afghanistan to the southern border.
Meanwhile, VP candidates who did not make the cut rallied behind Walz Tuesday. In a statement, former South Bend Mayor Pete Buttigieg called Walz, quote, an exceptionally effective governor and also great to work with. Reporting in the newsroom, I'm Hannah Adamson.
Hannah, thanks. A lot of back and forth this week about Governor Walz and his military record and the timing of his retirement. Secretary Buttigieg responded to some of J.D. Vance's comments, saying denigrating the worth of a soldier's service based on whether he deployed to a war zone is kind of like denigrating the worth of a woman's citizenship based on whether she happens to have children, a direct response to some of Vance's other recent comments. Of course, Secretary Buttigieg was also on the short list to potentially be the Democratic nominee for VP, but the former South Bend mayor ultimately wasn't chosen. So what's next in his political future? Here's more of Hannah's interview with State Chair Mike Schmall, who served as Mayor Pete's campaign manager in 2020.
I think Pete's future is still tremendously bright. I actually just heard from him a minute ago. Pete is 42 years old. He's one of the youngest cabinet secretaries in American history. He not only ran for president a few years ago, but obviously he serves in the cabinet with Joe Biden. I think that his, being in the finals is just a testament to his talents, his skills, who he is, his service to our country. And I also think that he proved over the last couple of weeks just how an effective communicator he really is for the Democratic Party. I think if we're in Olympic season, as we know right now, but if you were handing out medals for best communicators, I think that both Tim Walz and Pete Buttigieg would be on the podium. They were both they're really, really good at taking policies or, campaign plans or debating techniques. They're really, really good at distilling those down and talking to the American people in a very clear and simple way. And so you saw that with Governor Walz. You see it with Secretary Pete. I think his future remains bright. I mean, to be in the finalists, to have the sort of the number 2 job in America is something to be said. And I don't think that he's going to be going away anytime soon.
The secretary seemed to know what was going to happen. Did he anticipate that he wasn't going to be the pick? I mean, what could you gather from that conversation that you're willing to share?
Well, I think there's no question that Pete was one of the most vetted candidates, even before this whole process began. He's the only person of the entire field, outside of Kamala Harris herself, I might add, who had run for president previously, had been under the national microscope, as it were, and then also was asked to serve in the president's cabinet. So there's only 2 folks from 4 years ago that are kind of at that level. One is now our Democratic nominee, Kamala Harris. The other is Pete Buttigieg.
All right, meantime, here in Indiana, our governor certainly knows something about launching a campaign quickly, as the Harris campaign is doing now. In 2016, Eric Holcomb was named to the ticket when Mike Pence ran for vice president. And last week at the state fair, he was asked to reflect on that very quick campaign launch in light of what's happening at the national level this year.
You know a little something about running a campaign for a major office in about 100 days.
Yeah, 106.
What were the keys to success in such a short time frame for you?
Having a plan that you can articulate and share with your hopeful supporters. Ours centered around how we were going to continue to build the state up. Again, ours was from the ground level. It reached out to stakeholders and hopefully supporters. It takes a commitment to go without sleep. I always say I felt nocturnal at times, but I wasn't sleeping during the day either. So it was really just a high octane 100 day for them campaign to build the aircraft in flight and then to make sure you land it with no fuel left. I'm so focused on the job that I have and aware of and concerned about the goings on around me, whether it's at the state or the national level. But I'm reminded just this last week being in Australia and Singapore, this is not unique. There are elections going on in 2024. Over 50% of the world will live through one.
Now, the governor was also asked about his goals for his final months in office.
Primarily on community development, of course, our health and wellness development. There's projects that are underway that are being built and scaled up, but that all rests for sure on how we're growing our economy. And a lot of programs that need to continue to be implemented at the ground level.
Now, next week at the state fair, the candidates for lieutenant governor will face off in a debate at the fairgrounds, and Governor Holcomb will join 3 of his predecessors for a discussion on leadership, including former governors Evan Bayh, Mitch Daniels, and Mike Pence. Meantime, Pence and Daniels joined Governor Holcomb this past week for the ribbon cutting for the final phase of Interstate 69, a project that's taken literally years to get to the finish line. Our Eric Graves was there on Tuesday.
It's the literal finish line to the finish line project, a day decades in the making that means so much for in-state Indiana travel and out of state.
Today obviously proves that all roads do lead to and through the state of Indiana.
With applause, checkered flags, a 1974 pace car, and the snip of golden scissors, the 3 governors who watched over the project ceremoniously opened the final phase of I-69 from Evansville to Indianapolis Tuesday.
I've been waiting for this day for 16 years.
Since 2008, the project has been under construction. This video is from 2007 when it was first approved. Here's construction beginning on I-69 in Scotland, Indiana in 2008. At the time, former Governor Mitch Daniels was leading the charge. He says the road will create new possibilities for families all along the route.
First criterion was, will this help us, the businesses who are here, and will it help us attract more businesses?
Former Vice President and former Indiana Governor Mike Pence thanked former INDOT commissioners and others who helped keep the project going through the years, saying it couldn't have happened without them.
As the old saying goes in Indiana, when you see a box turtle on a fence post, one thing you know for sure: he had help getting there.
The I-69 finish line project has been the 6th and final phase. It started in Martinsville in 2019. Along the way, creating headaches for neighbors around it, this opening should mean less congestion in the cramped corridor.
This has been a major pinch point as we wrap up the project, but it's been necessary really to put the finishing touches on.
The final connection in the crossroads of America also means you can travel from Evansville, Indiana to Point Edward in Ontario, Canada, all along I-69. Something Governor Holcomb says will be a boom for the Indiana economy.
Today is proof positive that we mean business and we're open for it.
The cherry on top, INDOT Commissioner Michael Smith says I-69 is on time and on budget.
All right, Eric Graves reporting there from Indianapolis. Also this week, Indy's mayor is facing tough questions about his handling of sexual harassment allegations against his former chief of staff.
Mr. Mayor, you want to talk about Thomas Cook and the way you handled those complaints?
I think everything has been said.
Now you can see more of that exchange between Mayor Hogsett and our Russ McQuaid on our website as fellow Democrats and council members on both sides share their concerns about the situation, some even calling for the mayor to resign. Here's what another councilor said at a meeting this week.
As a woman in public service, I am both hurt and disgusted by the recent reporting by Indy Star and Mirror Indy regarding the mayor's former chief of staff. Any abuse of power by an employee in any sector is completely unacceptable, and it is deeply troubling to know that this behavior persisted for many years. We must do better.
Council President Vop Osili said we must make meaningful changes to the system that failed to protect these women from the appalling and predatory treatment they experienced. Gubernatorial candidate Jennifer McCormick also weighing in, saying Mayor Hogsett's apparent failure to address these issues appropriately highlights a systemic problem that demands a systemic solution. She says the women involved were let down by individuals and the system and said their pain must be acknowledged. We'll talk about all this with our panel coming up. Also ahead, our panelists share their thoughts on the race for president, the Veep Stakes, and the upcoming convention after yet another busy week in the news. Stick around. We'll be right back.